Did you know your garden can become a sanctuary for wildlife, right in your backyard? Picture a vibrant garden, teeming with life. Butterflies fluttering, bees buzzing, birds chirping. This isn't just a dream, it's a reality we can all create. Welcome to our journey into wildlife-friendly gardens. We'll explore the principles of design, plant selection, water features, shelters, nesting sites, and sustainable practices. So, stay with us as we dive into the fascinating world of wildlife-friendly gardens. To create a wildlife-friendly garden, there are a few design principles you need to consider. These principles are like the blueprint of a building. They guide your decisions and actions, ensuring you create a space that is not only beautiful, but also functional and beneficial for local wildlife. First, let's talk about plant selection. The plants you choose play a critical role in attracting and sustaining wildlife. Native plants in particular are the best choices as they have evolved alongside local wildlife and are best suited to meet their needs. Next, consider incorporating water features into your garden design. Water is a vital resource for wildlife, from birds that need it for drinking and bathing, to frogs and insects that require it for breeding. But remember, it's not just about having water, it's also about how it's presented. Think bird baths, ponds, and even waterfalls. Lastly, don't forget about shelter provisions. Providing safe places for wildlife to rest, hide, and raise their young is crucial. This can be as simple as leaving a pile of logs or rocks in a quiet corner of your garden, or as elaborate as installing birdhouses or insect hotels. By focusing on these three design principles, plant selection, water features, and shelter provisions, you can transform your garden into a vibrant sanctuary for local wildlife. Now that you know the principles, let's move on to the plant selection. Choosing the right plants is a crucial step in creating a wildlife-friendly garden. Native plants, those that naturally occur in your region, are the backbone of any wildlife-friendly garden. They've evolved over thousands of years to thrive in your local climate and soil conditions, making them a hardy, low-maintenance choice for your garden. But these plants do more than just look pretty. They play a vital role in sustaining local wildlife. Insects, birds, and other creatures have co-evolved with these plants and rely on them for food, shelter, and nesting materials. The flowers provide nectar for butterflies and bees, the leaves host caterpillars, and the seeds feed birds and other small animals. Choosing native plants for your garden is like setting a table for a feast. You're inviting a whole array of wildlife to come and dine in your backyard. And the variety is astounding. From flowering perennials that attract pollinators to berry-producing shrubs that provide food for birds, to ground covers that offer shelter for small creatures, there's a native plant for every purpose in your garden. But how do you choose the right native plants? It's all about matching the plant to the place. Consider the conditions in your garden, the amount of sun, the type of soil, the moisture levels. Then choose plants that naturally thrive under those conditions. Your local nursery or extension service can be a great resource for finding out which plants are native to your area and best suited to your garden's conditions. And don't forget about the seasons. A garden that offers food and shelter year-round is a garden that will attract and sustain wildlife all year long. So, choose a mix of plants that bloom and bear fruit at different times of the year. Remember, native plants not only attract wildlife, but they are also easy to maintain. Next, we'll talk about water features. Water is essential for life, and adding water features to your garden can attract a wide variety of wildlife. From the smallest insects to the most vibrant birds, water features create a hub of activity in your outdoor space. Let's start with bird baths. These simple structures provide a place for birds to drink and bathe. They're easy to install and can be a beautiful addition to your garden. To make them as wildlife-friendly as possible, ensure that the water is shallow and refreshed regularly to prevent stagnation. Moving on to ponds. Ponds can be a sanctuary for a wide range of creatures, including frogs, newts, and dragonflies. Not to mention, they can also be home to an array of water plants. Remember, if you're creating a pond, it's important to include a variety of depths and a gentle slope for creatures to access the water safely. Now, let's talk about waterfalls. While they require more planning and effort to install, waterfalls bring a dynamic and visually appealing element to the garden. The constant movement of water is not only calming for us humans, but also attracts insects and birds. Finally, remember to position your water features in a safe location, away from potential predators, and always keep them clean. Water features bring life to your garden. Now let's look at creating shelters and nesting sites. Providing shelters and nesting sites is another key aspect of wildlife-friendly gardening. These habitats can be as diverse as the wildlife they are designed to attract, ranging from birdhouses and bat boxes to bee hotels and log piles. Birdhouses, for instance, can make a world of difference for our feathered friends. When tailored to specific species, birdhouses offer a safe and cozy place for birds to nest and raise their young. A birdhouse for bluebirds will differ greatly from one designed for owls, underscoring the importance of knowing your local wildlife. Similarly, bat boxes can provide a secure roosting spot for bats, which are excellent natural pest controllers. These boxes, usually made from untreated wood, should be placed high up and away from bright lights to mimic the bats' natural roosting environments. For our pollinator pals, the bees, consider setting up a bee hotel. These structures, filled with hollow tubes or drilled holes, offer solitary bees a place to lay their eggs. Remember, not all bees live in hives. Many species are solitary, and these bee hotels can be a real lifesaver for them. But let's not forget our ground-dwelling wildlife. Log piles and rock piles can create an ideal habitat for a variety of creatures, from hedgehogs and toads to beetles and worms. These structures replicate the fallen trees and rocky crevices found in nature, providing shelter, food, and even breeding grounds for countless species. Creating these shelters and nesting sites doesn't have to be a complex task. In fact, it can be as simple as leaving a corner of your garden a little wild, allowing leaves to accumulate and fallen branches to remain. This wild area can quickly become a hotspot for wildlife, offering vital resources in an increasingly urbanized world. Remember, every creature plays a role in the ecosystem, and by providing these shelters and nesting sites, we can support a wide range of wildlife right in our own backyards. Shelters and nesting sites provide a safe haven for wildlife. Lastly, we'll touch on sustainable practices. Sustainable gardening practices not only support wildlife but also contribute to the overall health of our planet. It's about creating a harmonious relationship between our gardens and the natural world around us. Let's start with composting. Composting is a fantastic way to recycle organic waste, turning it into nutrient-rich soil. It imitates nature's way of recycling, returning valuable nutrients back to the earth, promoting soil health and plant growth. Plus, it attracts a variety of beneficial insects and organisms that contribute to the overall biodiversity of your garden. Pesticides, on the other hand, should be avoided. These chemicals not only harm the pests they're designed to kill, but also pose a threat to beneficial insects, birds, and other critters. Instead, consider using natural pest control methods. Planting a variety of native plants can attract natural predators that keep pests in check. It's nature's way of maintaining balance. Lastly, consider the water you use in your garden. Collecting rainwater is a great way to conserve this precious resource. It's also better for your plants as it's free of the chemicals found in tap water. Plus, it's a free source of water right from the sky. By embracing these sustainable practices, we ensure our gardens become not just a haven for wildlife, but also a contributor to the larger ecosystem. Sustainable practices make your garden a true friend to the environment. Remember the dramatic comparison we introduced at the start? Now let's revisit that scene. The once dull and lifeless yard has transformed into a vibrant, dynamic wildlife haven, teeming with life and color. It's a living testament to the power of nature when we design with it in mind. Throughout our journey, we've explored the principles of wildlife-friendly gardening, delved into the world of native plants, and discovered the vital role water features play. We've seen how creating shelters and nesting sites can provide a safe haven for various animals, and learned about sustainable practices that not only benefit our gardens but also our local ecosystems. It's incredible, isn't it? The transformation that happens when we invite nature into our gardens, when we choose to coexist rather than control. Even small changes can have a significant impact on local wildlife and the environment. So why not start your own wildlife-friendly garden project today?